What's poppin', nibbers and nivettes and non-nibbers and non-nibbets? It's your boy Bread Pill Black, and it's Pride Month, so let me say this. No matter who you are or what you identify as, know that you are valid and you are loved. Sexuality is a spectrum. Explore it, and don't be afraid to do what feels right for you. I hope that you're surrounded by those who generally love you for who you are. And today, we're going to talk about an issue I've noticed in the LGBT community. Fellas, ladies, philadies, lellas, and everyone in the spectrum, we gotta have this talk. Being a part of the LGBTQ community does not stop you from being a bigot, and many don't seem to understand that. For example, earlier in the year, a 15-year-old TikTok person created super straight, meaning attracted to cis people, basically. The super straight trend on social media, where users claim a new sexuality that demands the same respect as those with marginalized sexual identities, is actually just blatant transphobia, mocking LGBTQ people in their rhetoric and their activism. It is honestly some of the dumbest shit I've seen all year. Nothing says being super like using Grindr and Pornhub colors. Oddly enough, I've seen plenty of people within the LGBT community adopt a super moniker and dub themselves super gay, super lesbian, and super bi. And it sounds pretty super stupid, but I can understand cis straight guys doing this because many of them see issues of gender and sexuality as a joke. I see no excuse from the LGB, because so many within the LGBT community are transphobic and they exclude the T out of them. They try their hardest to exclude trans people from the community, and honestly, I find it some bullshit. For what I've seen and understand, these people say they aren't transphobic. They just feel like they're a separate community that should not be a part of the LGB, but rather a community of its own. They believe the LGB is about sexuality, while the T is about identity, with no crossover whatsoever. They also seem to believe that the T does more harm than good for them. Frankly, I find this to be false. Being trans has to do with identity, but that's what the LGBTQ is about. It's about not being hetero or cis, and that's your identity. The transphobia that these people present is really unnecessary, but that can be said for bigotry in general. They say that they don't hate trans people, but we all know that's a lie. We can see it by the way they talk. They hate them so much they claim being for trans rights is homophobic, misogynistic, racist, and other ists that are bad. You know how weird it is seeing an Ouroboros in real time? It's like a car crash. It sucks when you are a part of that pileup, because the only people getting a kick out of it are the straight guys who don't really give a fuck about it at all. This also isn't new at all. The LGBT community has always had issues within its friends, and usually it's because of who they want to see as normal to cishet people, from what I've noticed. It wasn't that much long ago that lesbians and gay people were saying bisexuals were doing it for attention and finding ways to diminish their sexuality and erase them and just make it seem like they just pick and choose what to poof up. Many don't see bisexual people as valid because they are in heterosexual relationships, despite them being bi. Erasure seems to be pretty common within the community. As I previously mentioned, many people within the LGBT community want to exclude trans people because they believe they're about identity, but ignores about three things. 1. Your sexuality is a part of your identity. It's one of the many facets that make you who you are. If expressing their sexuality as part of identity didn't matter, they wouldn't have pride parades where they go balls to the walls gay. They just want to erase trans people in their identity because of ignorance, bigotry, and disgust. 2nd, they seem to ignore the fact that trans people can be gay, bi, lesbian, and more. Like I've said earlier, sexuality is a spectrum after all. Adding super doesn't count because you're just saying fuck troons, but I don't want to fuck troons respectively. 3rd, sexuality isn't a choice, and validating the supersexuality just make it seem like it is. I understand y'all feel as though anything can be an identity, but not everything is valid. The amount of times I've seen LGB people go after and diminish trans people is too many times to count. And I'm seeing them do it the same way straight people have done it to them for years. Calling them pedophiles, saying who and what they are is a mental illness, mocking them for their suicide rates, fear of society accepting them because it's degeneracy, and much more. Like, they use repackaged gay talking points to attack them. I've seen trans people do this to non-binary people too. You know, the plus and LGBTQ plus. Not all, but many trans people deny NB people who they are because they make them look bad to cis people. The same way LGB people exclude trans people because they want to seem normal to straight people. And it's kind of funny because these people see them as degenerate anyway, and would rather they did not exist at all, or if they do have to acknowledge that they exist, be visible. Like, these people will go, haha, 42% trans women are hairy dudes in dresses with these people. But they make a shocked Pikachu face when they post stuff like this. In short, as a community, we have to do better. I understand that within the LGBTQ plus community, just like the online left and any other group, there is a lot of infighting going on. But we should do our best to keep that to a minimum. Especially when the people who benefit from this are trying to take away our rights. Many people in this community have marched, protested, and died for them. And we will let them go away because motherfuckers want to be spiteful and petty. Because honestly, we're all we have in this fight. And to exclude one another because it will appease your oppressor will get us nowhere and cause more harm than good. Being a pick-me for people who do not want you to exist at all will definitely cause more damage than good. Being gay is still taboo to many people in America and all over the world. The same can be said about being trans or non-binary. It behooves you to overcome that stigma together instead of throwing one another under the bus. Being gay and being trans were seen as sexual deviancy. The trans people always have and will always be a part of the community, so it's only proper to stick by them along with the rest of the plus. They've been doing the same for us since the beginning. Wanted to get my thoughts out about this because, like, it's Pride Month now, and I don't really see much pride. Well, I do see pride, but it's more like capitalist pride, and just a lot of people throwing each other on the bus and saying, you don't belong here, and stuff like that. That's lame. It's not based at all. But yeah, it's been your boy Red Pill Black, and thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I hope y'all have a good day. Peace.